welcome to another live episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, Wize. Almost forgot my name there for a moment. Um, Sorry about the delay. Had a last second guest change, and I'm so excited to have this person on because I've known this person almost all my life. She's an entrepreneur, a mom, a mentor, an author. This lady wears so many hats, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. Welcome to the show, Angela Castillo Hernandez.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Listen, we've known each other literally almost all our lives. We've known each other since kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Yes, we've known
Miss
each other.
Weissman.
We've known each other for a long, long time. And you're doing some amazing things. Like I said, you're an entrepreneur, you're a mentor, you're a coach. You do so many things. You're a mom, a grandmother.
Yeah,
Like, how do you juggle all these things?
through the grace of God, honestly. There's just, I don't think that in our own strength we can do so many things. I know we could try to put our mind to it and we could try our best. But when we're involved with so many things, certain things would, kind of fall to the side, like other things would be better than others. And I can honestly say that the only reason why I'm able to excel in all of them, I'm not saying it's always 100%, but for the most part, it's through the grace of God, just relying on his strength and just, making sure that I pray about everything. I connect with him about everything. And, for my own part, I try to think things through. I'm not very impulsive. I could have some impulsive like ideas and want to put them to practice right away, but then I'm like, hold up, like, wait a minute. And I take a step back. Sometimes though, I let that impulse go wild if I feel like I need to. But for the most part, I will say that I try to properly plan the best that I can. Even if that means that I plan last minute, I still try to make a plan.
Like, this was last minute. I appreciate you coming through. I had the
Yeah.
guest cancel, and you did offer. He's like, hey, anytime you need a guest, send me a message and I will be on. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I have so many topics that we can literally explore, with all the things that I'm involved with, and
Yes. So
just because of just us,
yeah.
just like where we've come from, where we've been through. I look back and look at where we were raised, and there are a lot of people who, didn't make it out. There's a lot of people that didn't even uh graduate. It's just, you look at all those statistics, and I'm grateful and thankful to where I'm at, but I never forget where I came from.
And where we come from is East New York, Brooklyn. Uh, we were raised during the crack era. It was not the easiest place growing up.
No.
But you know what? Regardless of how crazy it was, there was always a sense of community especially amongst the Hispanics and the people on our, at least on our blocks.
Yes.
If you were doing something wrong, by the time you got home, your mom knew what you did.
For real.
It's like
There
the
was no
neighbors.
hiding.
There was no hiding, and the thing was there was no social media and none of that before. But by
No.
the time you got home, your mom already knew, and that's lucky if you didn't get beat on the way home by somebody other than.
I know, I know. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But the thing was that, you know, I am grateful because there were a lot of different cultures where we grew up, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different things. But everyone always looked out for the children that were there, and there's a lot of things that are today. We can get into a big whole thing of how children are being raised today and all that stuff. And I'm sure people are tired of hearing that because it's like on and on and on. But I really, truly am grateful for the time that I was raised in. I think that we had a really good upbringing as far as like we learned hard work. We learned about accountability.
Yeah.
We learned that even though something hurt, you just have to keep going. And I think in life today, that's very important because a lot of things hurt. Me as a mother, my children hurt my feelings all the time. Know what I mean? So, so like even with all of that is said, like you have to learn to kind of, not that you have to push it down and hide it. Like you can, like that. I think that part probably was, something that should not have been done because a lot of people hold a lot of things in. But for the most part, the moving forward, the being able to move forward and the being able to just, look at what happened and say, okay, this happened. If you have to cry about it, cry about it. If you have to, sulk for a day because it's hard, go ahead and do it. Take your moment, but then pick yourself back up and keep going. We're not going to let a one moment uh falter, or tragedy, or sadness, or whatever it is. We're not going to let that one moment determine or route the rest of our lives. We're not going to allow that to detour us off a path that we either had dreams of, or made plans for, or set goals for. We have to make sure that we keep our eye on what we want in our life, and just make sure we keep it moving, because we can't just sit and cry. It's not going to help us. Actually, that actually makes us worse, right? Because then we spiral down, right? So when people are in this depression or an anxiety and things like that, they feel this spiral effect, and they're spiraling down, and as long as they stay stuck in it, they just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And so you have to choose a moment to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to pick myself back up and I'm going to move forward. And I think that in our era, we were kind of beat a lot. And we were disciplined and stuff, and we had no.
Let's not beat. Okay, we weren't beat. We were disciplined.
We were disciplined a lot.
When we say we get beat, it sounds real.
I
Right
know
then, it
people
sounds
think
bad.
it's abuse, but we make jokes about you getting a
yes,
beating. So
yes,
for
yes.
me, that's the
We
way
all
we
had the
talk about it.
chancla experience. We all had the chancla experience, all
Right.
that and all that. So when we say beat, we weren't like beat.
Assaulted or
Yes, we
abused. We
wasn't
were
abused.
disciplined.
We
It's
just
just
got
that
disciplined.
from Brooklyn, even if you got whipped one time with a belt, you just be like, you just got beat, like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we need to correct that.
yeah, let's clarify that, because a lot of people see
Because
this from all
wording, because
over.
yes, but we were definitely disciplined, and
Yeah.
to me, it's been more now when later on when they started, like when I played little league,
Mm-hmm.
the best team always got the biggest trophy, and so that kind of pissed you off. Where like, okay, I want the big trophy, so now the next season I'm going to work harder. But to me now they're giving everybody participation trophies. Everybody is getting rewarded, even though, let's be honest, they might suck at something.
Right.
But they're still being rewarded. So they're not. So they're not being shown like, hey, you suck at this, but if you do work harder, you will improve, and things will change. But to me, I feel like we're rewarding them regardless, and not
Right.
showing them that sometimes when you fail, that's the lesson. That's what
Yeah.
helps you improve.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I can speak for like my son. I have two sons. I have an older son. He's 26 now, and my younger son is 15. He's about to be 16 in
He knows
a
it all.
month, in a week. But he's a good kid. And they're all my children are good kids. We might have clashes. I know I clash with my daughter all the time. I don't know if it's because we're both women. I don't know what it is. But either way, I love my children.
If she's anything like you, I can see why.
I'm so proud of my children. Actually, she's tougher than me. My daughter is tougher than me. I actually admire some of her, just her ability to stand up for herself a little bit more. It took me time to learn that, to stand up for myself. And I'm not talking about fighting, because I had to defend myself fighting growing up, but I'm talking about just like voicing when you're being taken advantage of, or so I'm proud of her in a lot of ways. Obviously as a mom, I could look at some of the things and I'm like, why are you doing that? But I leave her be because she has to live her life and she has to make her own decisions. And if that includes making your own mistakes, then it is what it is, because that's how she's going to learn from them, right?
Yeah.
But we can't help it but try to, help them not go through that. But it
We
is what it
try,
is.
we try our hardest to shield them
Yeah.
from that. But
But
as
going
we,
back to my
as we know,
son,
yeah,
when both of them were in this, because they had like an older kid group and a younger kid group, and
yeah,
they went out to this camp thing and they had to compete. It was like they had to build a race car,
yeah.
and you have to build it and it has to go through this track, and it was competition. So you had to try to build it with just the right enough of weight, and you
Okay.
had to be able to balance your weight where you thought the car would get through the tracks, and make it through and be the fastest.
Yeah.
And my older son won a trophy, and my younger son didn't, and he was crying, and it hurt me. I was like, man, my poor baby, he doesn't understand. But you know, I had to tell him, look, you didn't make the best car. Like you didn't make the best one. You did a great one, and you worked hard and you did a good job, but it wasn't the best out of everybody else. Someone else's was better. Because my older one wasn't the only one that won a trophy. There was different categories.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand it. I'm like, look, what if you would have won the trophy, and you worked your hardest and you made the best one? Would you want everybody else to get the same recognition? And he was like, no. I said, okay, so then you can't get a trophy. And that's the thing. We can't, like you said, we can't reward for mediocrity, because then what happens is that's all our children will strive for, is mediocrity.
They're
We
like, yeah,
have
I'm gonna get a trophy regardless, so I don't have to try. And
right.
for me, when I like I said, when playing Little League, whenever I didn't get the big trophy, I came back the next year and worked harder.
Exactly.
That was
I was
just
very competitive though. Whether I was getting a trophy or not, I just wanted to win all the time. I know I probably annoyed half the people in my life, because I was always like, I'm going to beat you. And I like to trash talk too, which made it worse. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but I have, for as long as I can remember, I have been like that. I would trash talk you to death. Even if I knew I was going to lose, I would still trash talk you, because that to me, that was fun. So,
okay. So we're gonna touch on I Am Wild because you just launched that
mhm.
this past October. You had a event here in the Pocono Mountains. You had it over in Kalahari, right? Or was it Camelback?
It was Camelback.
It was Camelback. All right, Camelback. Anyways, but so tell us something about I Am Wild.
So, little background. My husband and I, we also have a marriage ministry. The marriage ministry is called Remodel Marriage Ministries. And it's all, or you could go to remodelministries.org for more information. But it's, we did that so that we can do workshops. There's a lot of, if you go to different churches and things like that, they have a lot of ministries for children. They have women's ministries, they have men's ministries, but there's not many marriage ministries. There's not many marriage workshops. They focus on children, the men by themselves and the women by themselves, but they don't really focus on the men. I mean, on the women. I'm sorry, the marriages. They don't really focus on the marriages. So we started that out first. We wrote our books called Marriage Under Construction. And then we started giving workshops and counseling and things like that. And one of the things I realized, my husband and I, we both realized really quickly, is that individually, the man and the woman had issues that were unresolved and not necessarily being tackled by any ministries that were going on at the moment. So I found myself really speaking to a lot of women, and a lot of it stemmed out of self-worth, out of just knowing that they're valuable, knowing that they're beautiful, knowing that they have a lot to give. Because when you're a mom or a wife, or even if you're single and you're in a lot of things that you give of yourself, sometimes you can get exhausted, and you can feel undervalued and unappreciated because of the way others treat you. And if we're not careful, we accept those things for ourselves, and then we're at a place where we don't have that full self-worth. And there's a lot of you know um a lot of affirmations out there, right? And there's a lot of things. Oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that. And they're just empty words if you don't really focus on the root cause of why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and you don't heal that. I could say I'm beautiful all day. I could look at myself, because they have that, oh, practice looking at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm this. I could say that. But at the end of the day, if I don't believe it, it's not going to matter how many times I tell myself that, right? And so what was happening was these women and men, because men too. My husband is planning to launch his own later. Well, we have to do one thing at a time, right? Can't just do it all at once. But um, I wanted to launch something for women that had to do with self-worth. And I didn't want it to be a cliche, and I didn't want it to be something that is done already. I wanted it to be new. And out of all the affirmations, um, whether you believe that you're the best at something, or that you're as beautiful as the next, or whatever, because, okay, I know I'm pretty, and I could say I'm a pretty person, I'm a beautiful person. I could say that. But common sense is there are other women that are really beautiful. And I cannot like deny that, right? But does that mean that I don't have value, that I don't have worth? That doesn't mean that. I am beautiful in my own way, and I have worth in my own way because of who I am. And so we launched I Am Wow. And so I Am Wow. Wow stands for Woman of Worth. And so uh, if no matter what affirmation you feel like you need to tell yourself, no matter what underlining struggle you have with what you're facing about yourself, no matter what it is, you have value, you have worth. And so that came out. I thought about, that came to me over 5 or 6 years ago. I prayed about it. I was waiting for the right moment. I started making the moves though. Like I purchased the domain, do all the first stuff. I purchased
Yeah.
the domain. I started like thinking about logo ideas and things like that. I started thinking about like, because I'm a person that when I think about something, I want to undertake something, I want everything to kind of package together. Like I want to package everything together. And so even if it'll take me time, I'd rather come up with a product or something that looks like complete than wishy-washy. So, and then I thought, man, this name is pretty freaking catchy. Like I Am Wow is catchy. Like I started thinking, because I'm an accountant, which I guess we'll talk about, but I'm an accountant by trade. That's my career. And I have seen people in the end, as an accountant, in different industries, come up with ideas, and because they didn't trademark it or copyright it or something, someone saw it, comes along and snatches it, trademarks it first, and then you lost all your stuff. So I said, wait a minute, I'm not going to launch anything until I trademark it. So that's what I did. So the trademark process took about 2.5 years. The trademark and the what do you call that? The copyright. Copyright was quick, but the trademark was longer. And so once it was trademarked, then I was able to invest more, because I didn't want to invest all this money and time in building a brand that I was not going to be able to trademark and keep as my own. So once that happened, then I moved on. But yeah, we just launched it this October. We had another event just this earlier this month, the first or second Friday of the month, I think, second Friday of the month. We had another event, and we're planning a conference next month, and we're going to be, going to different states. We already have maybe some tours lined up in Florida. It's going to be wild tours. That's what they're going to be called. And, you know, uh, so far so good. Thank God. And, I'm seeing a lot of amazing things.
Yeah, I seen some of the pictures from the events. It looked like it was an amazing event. I'm very excited for you. You inspire me. Like seeing someone again, seeing someone from from my neighborhood do the things that you're doing. It just motivates me and inspires me. Like, okay, Angela's doing it. We come from the same hood. We grew up the same way. She can do it. I could do this. So it pushes me and motivates me to be like, all right, I gotta start grinding because my girl is out here grinding and she's killing it.
You're doing your thing too, man. I mean, I've been following you since you started, and I catch your podcast here and there. And I, when I first saw and you started having you started talking about getting sponsors and stuff, I hit you up about it.
Yeah,
And then it was such my busy time, and then I was late and everything. So we actually have to get with that this year because
this
the
year, yeah, it's coming up.
season's coming, so I can get you early enough. But I'm really proud of a lot of the people that we grew up with and where they're at. I do see some that didn't make it or are still stuck, but and it's never too late. I think people still have time and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think a lot of people that we are connected through on Facebook, that we grew up with, they're doing good, man. It's so good to see people that you grew up with, that you had childhood with, doing so well. It's so great.
No,
But
it is. We do have a lot of people we grew up with that are doing some great things. It's I don't because you know what it is. It's where that generation that's in between. Like we're at the beginning of technology of computers and all that, and but we also still have that old school ways about us, about
mhm,
working hard and about
yeah,
doing what, because so then we implement that into our grind.
yeah,
We see the advantages that technology has for us, and some of us are a little bit more tech savvy than others. But growing up the way we grew up and learning more through our life lessons and through everything that we're doing now, I think we kind of it's it's not, I'm not gonna say easier, but with the way we work and the way we do things, it's like we know that in order for this to succeed, we have to be patient. We have to put the work into it. We have to not just think. Okay, it's great to think of the ideas, right?
right,
But if you don't start working towards those ideas and implementing those ideas, then they're just ideas. They're not nothing. So having that drive and want to succeed and seeing the visions that we see and knowing that, hey, this is what I have to do in order for this to start working.
right,
Like you said, you're not impulsive, but when you see something in your head and you like, all right, you start implementing it. You start, I got to trademark this, I got to do that, you started implementing it, and that to me comes
absolutely.
from the drive that is hard work. I have to I have to put the work into this in order for it to succeed.
And just thinking about that a little bit more, it's like we also have, because of where we came from, we know that things can go south really, really quickly.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And we know that if we let up, that things can can spiral in a direction that we didn't expect it, right? Because of where we came from. So that's another aspect of that. that it pushes us to make sure we're on top of our game and that we are doing the best that we can, because of, just knowing that we don't take for granted what we have, right? A lot of people take for granted. If it comes easy to you, you take it for granted. And I think that can be for anyone, including us sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that when you come from a place that we come from, it's really hard for us to take stuff for granted. Even if it comes easy for us, it's really hard because we know that it's if it came easy, it was a blessing. It was because we know things don't come easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we value it a little bit more because we're like, wow, like this is such a blessing that we got this. Like this is so great. And we like make sure that we hold on to it or we work it or we try to grow it. And I think with that retrospect, like for us, it would be a little harder for us to let things kind of plummet uh, down without a fight. You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
saying that we won't fail at stuff. I
But
think
yeah.
failure is a part of life. Some people don't understand that failure is a part of life, and sometimes we fail. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, don't say the word fail."
But you know what? I don't even. I honestly, I understand why they say don't say fail, and I no
Mhm.
longer look at it as failure because it's more of a lesson. It's more of a teaching. It's something.
Well, that's
Whereas,
what I was gonna say. It's
yes,
even through those failures, that's why I'm not afraid to say, "Okay, I tried that."
it didn't
And
work.
when I say failed, I
I know,
don't mean
but you know what it is. People think of it. This is. It's just
it's a
when you say
mind thing, and
certain
I
words. Yes,
understand
when you
that.
say
And when I
certain
say
words.
fail, you have to remember that failure has to do with whatever goal you set
That, mhm,
and you didn't reach. It
exactly.
doesn't mean that you're over,
Hmm.
right? So I
Yes.
could set a goal and I could fail at attaining that goal, but I haven't failed in life. I haven't failed overall because guess what? Whatever I learned from that temporary failed moment, I could go back to the drawing board and make better. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And I could learn from that. And I think that people are too afraid to fail.
Fail. Yeah.
And there is a lot of meaning in failure. A lot of the treatments, techniques, and things today were after many, many, many failures.
Hmm.
It was after many failed attempts, many times, and it was tweaking over and over, failing again. Okay, that didn't work. We scratched that out. That means we have to do it this way now and do it this way until you got it to a moment where it was great. And I think people overlook that and immediately as soon as you say, oh, that project failed, they think it's negative. It's not negative. It failed, but it helped me to succeed over here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not negative. The time it becomes negative is when I allow that to make me defeat it, right? When I allow that to keep
And
me down.
that's what I feel a lot of people have. They allow like one of the reasons I didn't start my podcast earlier was because I was like, oh no, I'm gonna wait till I'm ready, or wait till I'm perfect, or I'm gonna wait till I'm, and then it was like, no, let me start. I have to start before I even know how good I'm gonna be.
And because of that, you help me. You help me to get the courage because I could talk. As you
Yes.
can see, I'm over here trying not to overtalk you. I'm trying to,
Yes.
how you have to learn how to wait your turn and all that stuff. But I just get so passionate and so excited about everything that I want to share that I could talk. And I know that I can overpower people. And those are things that I've had to learn in life, like to give other people space. And it's not because I don't want to give them space as
Yeah.
much as it is because I have so much that I want to
Let's
give
share. Yeah.
and share. And so the thing is that even with all of that I want to share and all of that I want to give, I'm still like I'm gonna use your tag. I'm still stuck in my own mind
Yeah.
because I'm still like, okay, I have all this to share, but I still want it to come out right. and I
Hmm.
still want it to reach people, and I still want to touch people, and I want to help people. And so even though I could talk, I can pick up any subject and I could talk you to death about it, and I have
And she will be
something.
talking you to death soon. Her podcast is coming out soon.
Yes, with
It
my
is she
with
well, she's gonna
Mr.
have she doesn't have a permanent co-host. She will have multiple co-hosts, but she is the main host of the I Am Wild podcast, which is coming out soon, which I'm
Yes,
excited because I'm
which
helping produce that.
Mr. Wise El Jefe is helping me produce it, which I'm so
Yes.
excited about. And the thing is that, so I could talk all these things and stuff, but I want to make sure it's relevant. I always get concerned about that. I want to make sure that, I'm helping. That is just not another person rambling on in a podcast. That is
No,
actually,
it's fine. I'm laughing because she sent me a list a list of topics. And I'm like, man, you just made my life easier because you just gave me like multiple, like I swear to you, she probably sent me 100, no, less than 100, about 50 something topics.
yeah, it was about 50 something.
About 50 something topics. I'm like, yo, this is like 2, 3 seasons worth of episodes she sent me.
No, and then we recorded the first two
To,
episodes and it was
yes,
still on the same first topic because
yes,
it
it
was just
was.
so
We
expanded.
cut it, yeah, we cut it, made it into 2 episodes, yes.
And so like, but so I just want to be able to give, especially there's a lot, how do I stay relevant and different? There's a lot of women empowerment. I
Mhm.
mean, that's what it is today, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the new thing, right? Like, oh,
yeah.
I'm this and I'm that. Oh, I'm worth this and I'm worth that. There's so much of that, right? How do you, and when I say you, I'm talking about me, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay relevant and stand out amongst the rest, right? And it's not that I'm in a competition with anybody. It's more of I don't want to be drowned out because I want to help. You understand? Like, I don't want my voice to be drowned out amongst the rest because my main goal is that I touch somebody's heart and somebody's life. My main goal is that I help someone. I help someone either receive better understanding about their worth or to see something in a different light or to be more positive about their life, even if they've had temporary failures, to see that, that whatever, if it's their career, that they're not just their career. If they're a mom, that they're not just a mom. If they're a wife, that they're not just a wife. You know, we have so many facets to ourselves. We wear so many different hats. I mean, and we switch like that without even thinking about it, right? We
Yeah.
go to work and we're work. We come home, we're mom. We have to deal with our husband and we're wife. If we're single, we're a good daughter because you're the single girl, so your parents are calling you all the time to help them with all the stuff because you don't have nothing else to do, right? Like if you don't have a life, and so there's so many aspects of that and so many things and like how do I stay relevant, which was my part of my concern. And Mr. Wise over here, Mr. El Jefe, was like, nah, girl, you got this.
Well,
Look at him.
the 2 episodes we recorded they were good episodes. That you was like, oh, I still need, but no, you and your co-host did a great job. The
Yeah.
second one went much more smoother than the first one. I didn't have to edit as much on the
Yeah.
second episode as I did on the first episode.
Yeah. So whoever's tuning in right now, forgive me for the first one. It
It
is
was good.
good.
It was good. It
It's
was good.
good. It's
The
good, but
content is good. The
I was
content of the episode is
extremely
good.
nervous, and you could tell. So we loosened up by the second one.
Yeah, by the second one they had it. The second one they were good.
We were loosened up. But the thing was that, when you're starting out, it's a little nerve-wracking and stuff like that. And as much as I like to talk and I'm able to, do presentations and stuff like that, I never think that I've arrived, right? So I never have this attitude like I'm a pro because I know that at any moment, I can make a mistake because I'm human, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, I never want to take for granted that, that I could do things like nothing. So I always get nervous because of that, because I know, I could get distracted or something could happen or I could forget what I was talking about because of whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was a little nerve-wracking. Plus he was recording it and I've seen him do this 1,000 times and I'm just like, he's a pro, and I was worried about what I look like to him and all that stuff. And then he just encouraged me, which was awesome.
It was
So
fine. Your husband agreed with me. He thought the second one went much more smoother.
yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something about my husband. My husband, he doesn't lie to me. He'll tell me like, you could have did this or you could have did that. So I
Yes.
do I do trust his judgment and everything like that. But in the back of my mind, I'm always like, he's my hubby. He loves me, so like,
No,
so
but
it's a
he was honest. He said he
no,
said
he was.
he said the first one. He said, yeah, I kind of messed up on the first one, but uh, we edited it out and fixed it. And the second one, like I said, the second one I didn't really have to edit so much. The second one was so much more smoother because again, yeah, both got comfortable by that
Yeah.
time, so it was easier to record and it was easier to edit.
Yeah, so we're gonna be just to give like, just some kind of sneak peek. We're gonna be talking about different women's issues, regarding, working woman, just issue as just being a regular woman, like not talking about any hats and the things that we go through. And we're just gonna just talk about women in general and talk about things that others may tiptoe around. We're going to get deeper in, and we're not going to be, like shying away from the tough things. Like we're going to make sure that we cover everything cuz we don't have time for that.
No,
No.
no, not at all. Definitely no time for that. But I'm excited. We got to start scheduling some more days so we can start getting some more out.
I know you got COVID,
I
my
got
poor
COVID when we
friend.
was supposed to shoot.
I
Yes.
know. I
Yeah.
didn't even dare ask you. I'm like, okay, he has COVID. And then I was thinking, should I shoot something myself and send it to him? And then I was like, no, it's gonna feel weird without him. So I was like, that's okay. We'll just record again. I haven't released any episodes, so we're still good as far as timing is concerned. We could
Yes.
just get some more recordings under our belt. But I'm really excited, and I've gotten a lot of feedback through our Facebook page. Like we've released our promo video, just talking about what we are about. We have two. We have one with voiceover, one without. And basically, I released it. It got over 4,000 views in like a week, and I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of messages from women across the country. Oh, how could I be a part of this? Or could you pray for me over this? Or you know, um, can you help me with this? Or wow, this is so amazing. It's touched my heart. Like we got, I'm gonna say hundreds of messages from some women, and my team and I, we've been on top of it. We've been responding. We've been praying with them over Messenger. We've offered stuff. What I would like is, so I'm going to make this little plug here. I would
Well,
like
you
to,
could save it because you get to plug. You get your moment to plug shortly.
no, no, no. I'm just saying, I would like to connect. I would like to connect with resources, women's resources around the country and around, I'm saying, like whether it's a ministry, whether it's a resource. So I'm gonna plug that in now, because if you're watching this and you are part of some form of woman resource, like it would be great if you would to connect with me, because as women reach out to us through our I Am Wow ministry, if they're not from here, I would like to connect them with people and resources where
That
they're at,
they're at. Okay.
right?
Mhm.
So the whole point of this is not just so I could, make an email for myself, and the whole point of this is to help. And so one of the things that I'm going to be trying to do is I'm going to try to make connections. I had women from Utah, Arizona, Montana. I had women reaching out to me asking for, prayer for this or that. And then if I see like they're praying for a certain, need, if I knew a resource in their area, I could be like, hey, I have a resource for you. And I could do more than just pray with them. You know what I mean? And I could do more than just encourage them. I can actually give them a plug them in to an actual resource that can help them where they're at. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
I would love to one day have a benevolence fund that would help in certain things and would, also invest in some of those resources that I'm connecting with and stuff like that. But that has to be built with time,
All that, no, listen, all that will come. It will come. Believe me,
Yeah.
because it's especially the work you put into, and you do this because you want to do it. Like you said, you don't do this for the name recognition. You don't do this
Mhm.
because you get paid doing your taxes. It's not like you're hard up for money. It's not.
No.
You're a hard worker. You have your own business. You're an entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
do these things. The reason you do these things is because that's the person you are. That's who the kind
Yeah.
of person you are. You want to help people. You want to serve people, and that's
Amen.
where a lot of people fail to realize they focus on me, 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 me. But when you go out and you can fill a need and you can serve people and you help people and you can help uplift them, that uplifts you as well.
It does. It really does. So, you know, it's very hard when you see the struggle with some of the ladies, you know. Um it's hard. It really does affect me. And I'm always left with I wish that I could do more, you know. But I know that doing something is better than doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes a woman, a person just needs some encouragement for the day. If I can bring that um, to get them through, then great. Because maybe I help them through a difficult moment and they can continue on forward and continue working towards their goal. Obviously, when you have a heart for people, you wish you could do so much more. But I've learned a long time that do your best, and the best is all you can give, right? And so I'm going to give of my best, um, do the best that I can, and use my own struggles that I've had, uh, to help others and encourage others. Because I do a lot of motivational speaking, and I do preaching, and I do things like that, and um, it's I've gone through some very, very hard things. Um, I'm sure that others have gone through hard things. I can't say I've gone through harder things than some, or some have gone through harder things than me. I think that we can't really measure
Yep.
people's
Everybody
right.
has their story.
Yep.
Everyone experiences what they're here to experience, and
Right.
it,
But with what I have and what I've gone through, if I can use that to help others,
mhm,
then at least it wasn't in vain going through that. I mean, even though I know I learned from it, so for personally, it wasn't in vain because I've
yeah,
learned from it. But I could use that to help others so they could be encouraged.
hmm
It's for me, it's like, a bonus, right? It's a bonus thing. And like I said, I see people struggling, and in different ways, and I said, well, I have to do what I can, because that is part of me. Like it's not part of me to just stay on the sideline and watch. It's part of me to help. Some people, their calling is to just lay back and pray for them, and that's just as powerful. And others, they encourage in the background. That's really powerful too. But my thing is to do this, and I'm gonna, do what I can um, to fulfill what I feel that I'm called to do.
Yeah. I believe me, I feel you 100%. It's me being able to do my podcast and truly find my purpose. Like I had a I have a great career. I make good money from what I do, but being able to do my podcast and be able to share my story and share other people's story, have you come on and share what you're doing, that to me is giving me purpose. To be able to people reach out to me and message me and say, "Hey, I needed to hear that episode. That
Yeah.
episode pushed me to start my business or pushed me to do this or just helped me get through whatever struggles I was going through." Those are the messages that inspire me because
Well, this is an important space for sure.
yeah, it is. It is. And so I love it. I'm so excited for 2023 because you mentioned because you mentioned motivational speaking. Me and you're gonna talk about that after off the air because I got some questions I need to ask you.
Okay.
But it's opened up other lanes for me. It's given me the opportunity to be a producer, to start doing graphic design, to start doing so many different things that prior to me starting my podcast, I had no interest in doing.
Right.
I didn't it wasn't in my realm. It wasn't in my so I had to make myself uncomfortable and start learning all these things
Yeah.
to improve on what I'm doing now.
I also think that maybe it wasn't your time before.
Maybe it wasn't.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes, um, things occur to you
Hmm.
at the time it's supposed to happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It doesn't mean that you didn't have it in you before. It just means it wasn't that season yet,
No.
you know?
I wasn't ready for it. I was still learning
Right?
and
Either
preparing for
that
it.
or the stage wasn't set,
Yeah. It's
right?
set now.
Yeah. So,
It's
so like, I mean, think about it, with all that you've been through and all the things that you've learned over the years, um, maybe 5, 6 years ago would not have been as simple, or certain tools weren't available. There's so many things that could have interfered with you being able to do what you're doing now. And so I truly believe that as long as we are constantly trying to evolve into a better person, right? So,
yeah.
I feel like, I am the best person that I could be, but every day I could be better.
Yeah.
And it's not to say there's something wrong with me. It's just to say that I'm a flawed person. I am
Mhm.
naturally flawed. I am a naturally flawed human
And
being.
as we
Right.
all,
And so that means that there's always room for
it's for
growth
improvement. Yeah.
and for improvement. There's always room for that.
Hmm.
And
So that's why when people be like, "Oh, that's your competition over there,"
no,
no, no,
no,
I'm my
absolutely
own.
not. I don't
I'm my
believe in that.
no, I'm my own competition because
Yes,
my goal is to be better than I was yesterday. So I'm
correct.
just competing within myself.
Correct.
I don't
And and
consider
and what people don't understand about competition, let me tell you about a competition. So when you have a race, there's only one winner,
yes
right? But what is everybody doing? Running.
competing. Yeah,
No, but everybody's
running.
specifically
He's running.
running.
Yes.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
Hmm.
See, just because someone has a podcast, they're not your competition because their podcast is
It's
totally
completely
different
different from mine.
from yours.
Hmm.
They're just
Even though
another person.
we might discuss the same things, it's completely different because of how I present it.
Correct, correct. So it's not the same thing as a race where you're competing and everybody's doing the
The
same
same
thing.
thing.
That is competition,
Yeah.
right? That is competition. See, when I said earlier that, there are so many people with this space of affirmations and all that stuff. And my concern was making sure that I stand out above that. Why? Because I don't want to compete with them. I want to be in my own space, and I want to make sure that my message comes through. And so I had a friend, well, she's kind of like my cousin. It's one of those, you grow up like cousins,
That's
and
my
you
cousin.
find
Yeah.
out when you're older that you're not really cousins. You grew up your whole life thinking they were your cousin. So she to me is my cousin at heart. We have a mutual cousin. We have a cousin in common. So
Y'all
she's,
cousins. It don't matter.
but we're not cousins, because
Y'all
that
cousins.
cousin, she's my cousin on her mom's side,
Yeah.
and she's her cousin on her dad's side. So we all grew up together, because our families were all close knit, and so we grew up thinking we were cousins. Anyway, I own a tax office, and I also own a virtual accounting firm where I do accounting for businesses and things like that across the country. And she wanted to do a tax firm. She wanted to do taxes and stuff like that. And she hit me up and she's like, "Hey, I want to do this tax thing, but I want to let you know, so that you don't think." And I'm like, "Girl, there are so many people out there that need their taxes done. I am not going to be worried about you wanting to do your thing. Do your thing." And instead, I helped her. I helped her. I told her everything she had to apply for. I told her the steps that she needed to take. I hooked her up with some tax courses for her to get acclimated and ready. And when she posted about her business, I shared it. And I said, "Hey, if you're in this area, go see her." Why? There's more than enough business for everybody. We
Mhm.
don't need to pull each other down, and we don't need to step over one another in order to win. We don't need
Yep.
that. On the contrary, we need to lift
Share it.
each other up and share,
Mhm.
because there's more than enough business out there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm like, do you think these wealthy people, they're at each other's wits end? No, they're chilling in the golf community with their membership, and they're going out and playing golf with all the money that they're making, and they're just comparing what they're doing, and they're helping each other out. Why? I know, I have a lot of those clients, and they're all friends. Okay, they're all friends. And here you have people that are too busy trying to knock each other over just to make a buck.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. So, with the co-compete thing, um, it's not a competition, like you said. You are your own voice, your own space, your own stuff. And guess what? If you have something different, people are going to listen to you and to them. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
I'm always sharing something. If a friend of mine posts a business up, any whatever, I'm
No,
always
you are
sharing it.
awesome. You are awesome. You share stuff all the time.
You have to. It's you have to share. I don't like. I don't know, understand how you expect anyone to support you if you don't support other people.
Yeah.
You
And
can't expect people to support you if you don't support anyone. If you're not
correct.
sharing other people's stuff, how do you expect anyone to share your stuff?
Correct. And the thing is that um you never like we come from a time where the famous saying, of course, don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. Like, you just never know. And not that you're doing something just for the sake of just in case, but I don't believe in like karma and all that stuff. People believe in that stuff. Actually, that comes from one root verse in the Bible that says, "Do unto others as you would have do unto
Unto
you."
yourself. Yeah.
And then there's the other verse, "For the same measure that you judge, you will be measured." Right? So, like, if you are hard on people, it's going to be hard for you, and that has nothing to do with karma. That's just God's rule. That's universal. And the thing is that, if we're going to, bring people down and not help and do all these things and talk about them or bash them, or, that's not good. You can't make a success out of something that starts rotten.
Yeah.
Nothing that is rotted ever grows to be good,
Good. Absolutely.
right?
Yep. But this has been great. I love having you on the show. You know, you're always welcome to come back on the show and talk
I
because
know.
obviously
There's
she
so
can
much.
talk.
Like, I would like to talk about the marriage ministry and the books, and
Yeah. Oh, we definitely gonna have.
and
I'm sure I'm gonna have many more
tax. I mean, tax.
reschedules.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and we could share some tips and some stuff.
But now you get to plug right now. You get the solo screen, and you get to plug away and let everybody know where
What
they
do
can
you mean?
find
What do you mean?
promote, promote, promote. Plug the website.
Okay,
Plug
so
Wow. Plug everything.
we have Remodel Marriage Ministries, which is, you can find it at www.remodelministries.org. And there you will see a link to our books called Marriage Under Construction for Men and for Women they're available on Amazon. We also have the I Am Wow, which is the woman's of worth. I am woman of worth. And that you can find at iamwow.org. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, both of those ministries. I do have 1-800 Tax Masters. 1-800 Tax Masters is my tax and accounting firm. We offer key products and just advice on being able to maximize your profit, pay less taxes. We try to implement tax strategies for you so that you can keep your money that you're making and not pay so much of it over to the government. And that's a big thing. And so that's once again, 1-800 Tax Masters, www.1800taxmasters.com. That's what I have. Are you
So
coming
you have.
back? I
Yes,
feel
I'm
kind of
coming back.
weird
I'm
by
coming back.
myself.
I'm back. I'm back. That's the segment. That's the segment I always do. Everybody, they always get
That
their
is that's
segment.
so awesome. That
They
is
get
so
this little
awesome.
segment where they get to plug away and talk about whatever they got coming out.
Oh, so when I said earlier about the plug, I wasn't plugging myself. I was trying
I
to
know,
plug myself in to reach out to others, other ministries. Now I
but
see why. You're like, oh, I'm going to give you time for that. So, yeah.
but it's thank you for stopping by. I
I don't know if
appreciate
we
you.
talked about much, but I hope,
We did. We
whoever
listen.
tuned in.
We've talked almost an hour. So yes, we've
No, I know we've talked a lot, but I mean, I hope that what we've talked
no
about could
we've
be an inspiration, is what I mean.
no we talked about some positive stuff. We talked about
Yeah.
stuff that people need to hear
Yeah.
and sometimes they need to hear it from other people. But let me just give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat. Big shout out to Eric for coming through. That's why I do the live, is to be able to share and interact, because now the audience members become a part of the show. Big shout out to my man Snowman in the morning, Brian Snow. He's gonna Brian, as soon as we build the YouTube channel for her show, we will send you the link so you can subscribe.
Oh, that is so kind. Thank you.
But yes, so now it is hold on, don't leave. Remember, I gotta chat to you with you a little bit after, but
Yeah, no, I got you.
all right, so let me I'll be right back. Let me just do shout outs. All right, big shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys for coming through, showing some love. Big shout out to my real wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. I love you, baby, and appreciate you. Big shout out to my guests. Oh my God. Like I said, I've known her a long, long time. Miss Angela Castillo Hernandez. And as always, a big, big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know your boy Wise does it. Peace out.